were doing those fucking sick balls recordings.
I've got the tape. I don't have a tape player. But yeah, do you have a tape player?
Yes, I do.
Yeah? I'll lend you the tape.
That'd be
so you
sweet.
can resurrect.
Sick balls of fire.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
We're rolling. Okay. Well, where am I? I'm over here.
You're over here.
Okay, episode 5 of the Barnsey Podcast. Welcome back. We promised we'd be doing more regular episodes, and we are delivering. So this is only about a week since our last one. So yeah, new guest. Welcome, Mitch Hertz. Sorry.
Welcome.
There you go.
So yeah, it's been well received, the last podcast. Got a few good comments and people saying they want to be part of it, which is awesome. So yeah, we decided to set up the mics and the cams this afternoon and give it another burl. So I actually didn't get my list of stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I've got a few things I wanted to bring up. The first thing was my new purchase, my new e-cigarette, which I think I mentioned on a previous podcast I was going to get. So yeah, I'm a very, very hardcore cigarette smoker. And it's actually gotten worse over the last 12 months. I've been working this job where I'm working like with regimented breaks, as in they've got a KPI requirement of counting the exact minutes that I have when I can have a break. And it's like 10 minutes down to the second. And I'm the kind of person that, you know, when I'm at home by myself, I don't smoke a lot of cigarettes. But if I'm working and it's like I've only got 10 minutes break, I'm going to have a cigarette. There's just something inside me that just needs to have it. And it was getting to the point where I was actually trying to fit 2 cigarettes into a 10-minute break. So just chuffing them down. And I was going back up in the elevator and I could feel it in my lungs, like just pulsing pain. I'm like, this is not good, man. This is not good. So
good, man. I think that's a sign.
It is. And at first I tried to cut back, and it's like this weird dichotomy in my own head where, good devil, bad devil kind of situation, don't have a cigarette. You can have this break without a cigarette. And I don't even let the good devil finish that sentence, and the bad devil's like, fuck that shit. You're going to have a ciggy, man. Think of how good it will be. You'll go get a coffee. You go have a nice cigarette. So it's been really bad. So I'm the kind of person that does turn to technology in times of need. And I've been reading a lot about the e-cigarettes. There's a lot of like forums online, e-cigarette forums, of people with stories of being like 40-year smokers, of smoking a packet every day. And they've managed to wean themselves off using e-cigarettes. Now, there's a bit of a few things to know about e-cigarettes in Australia. You can't buy the nicotine liquid with actual nicotine in it. Anytime that you buy one in Australia, it's faux nicotine. So it doesn't actually have any nicotine in it. Yeah, it's illegal.
From your lull tobacconist, he's going to sell you one that's not very good.
He's going to sell you one that looks like, you can get those ones that look exactly like a cigarette with like the orange butt, and they have a LED light that lights up. And if you're buying those in a tobacconist in Australia, unless it's like under the counter, it's not legal for retail to sell the nicotine ones.
Right, so what are people buying then, the smokers?
They're just faux ones. They're just like flavoured nicotine.
But wouldn't they be having like withdrawals?
Exactly. Right, this is the funny thing. I go onto these forums and there's like, it's mostly Americans talking about how awesome these ecigs are, and there's these Aussies that are like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? I'm sucking on this thing.
I'm just hammering on this thing.
And I'm losing my mind. Like, I went back, I had to go buy another pack of cigarettes because it just wasn't working. And then eventually some cluey Aussies come into these forums and go, dude, if you're buying them in Australia, you're not getting any nicotine in yours. But there's a loophole in the law where Australians can import their own nicotine juice from places that do have nicotine in it up to a 3-month supply. And I was trying to find the laws, what's a 3-month supply? And apparently that's up to a personal thing. You can claim, I guess it means you couldn't get like 10 gallons or like, you
can't bulk buy.
And say, that's what I'm going to do in 3 months. Yeah. You've got to sort of think, how much will I go through in 3 months? So that's how you can get the actual juice that will give you a hit. But then that leads you down it's a very confusing world that I found trying to research this and get the right product. The nicotine levels in the liquids go from, I think it's 32 milligram, 16 milligram, 8 milligram.
Right.
And 32 milligram, that's like the strongest cigarette you can get in Australia
Camel
was
ciggies, fucking no filter.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But then I was asking these guys, okay, if I'm smoking these cigarettes and this much of it per day, what kind of juice should I be getting to abate the cravings? And it's not the same amount of like nicotine juice levels that equate to so if I'm smoking 4 milligram cigarettes, I don't get 4 milligram juice. And then it all comes into what unit you get and how hot they burn and all of this kind of stuff. So basically I've gotten this juice that was, I think it was a 16 milligram juice, and there's like these ratios of different things that you choose for how much vapor you want versus how much taste you get versus back of the throat hit, all of these terms that they talk about.
I'll just give you a look.
This particular one is the iTaste. It's called the iTaste MVP. Now look at it. It's a massive unit, and this was my first hesitation. Like you've probably seen people walking around using these devices, and I'll admit it's pretty douchey. It looks pretty stupid. Like it's this big contraption that they're sucking on, Is
this different to like as I've seen a lot of the ones that just look like a little pen light sort of thing? Is this different to what they're smoking?
Yeah, well, the guys in these forums were saying those pen ones just don't have the power to get up to the point where you get a satisfying hit that a cigarette smoker would like.
Oh, right, okay.
They're saying they're okay, but they're not. If you're using this to try and get off cigarettes, they're saying you'll be disappointed with those ones. It won't give you a satisfying hit. And that's why this is such a big chunky unit, because it's got a massive battery on it that gives it all of its juice.
Just to like ram that smoke into,
Pretty much, yeah. And I mean, it's got this whole variable wattage and variable voltage, and so this is a moddable unit.
Isn't that the thing? You're not ramming smoke, you're ramming vapor. Isn't that the difference?
So what's your understanding then of like the health benefit of smoking this? Like what? Because it's the tar you're missing.
Totally,
right?
yeah. Plus the rest,
the chemicals and all that kind of stuff they put in the ciggies. But just as a caveat on that, I did see World Health Organization now saying they think they're as bad as ciggies.
Yeah.
Take that with a grain of salt.
Okay, so. Yeah, there's a lot that I want to say about that. It seems to me that there is a bit of a kickback from, I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory, but maybe this is big tobacco having a bit of a kickback against it. Because a lot of the big e-cigarette companies have taken off and they haven't been under the control of big tobacco. They've kind of taken their foot off the pedal on that one and thought that it wouldn't take off the market, and it has. And it's taken off without as much control as they'd like. Now, there's the Blue cigarettes, which are a big brand in America, which they're the brand that are getting the big celebrities to do TV ads. I think Steven Dorff does a Blue ad, which is a fucking cack of an ad. It's so cheesy, black and white. And he's like, in his tux. And he's like, this is the future of smoking. So if you can find it, it is so cheesy. And I think, there's some other celebrities. I think Blue cigarettes are owned by Philip Morris. That's like the first e-cigarette that's come out that's been
What's his name?
Steven Dorff.
Every time I hear that name, I always think of that Punked episode where the guy keeps calling him Stefan. Stefan Dorff, right? Stefan Dorff.
I don't think I've seen that one.
He's just like getting the shit so bad. He's at a restaurant and they're fucking him around. And so it's Stefan Dorff.
How does he take it?
Oh, he's got the shits. But they've been fucking with him, he's just trying to have dinner. Like, he wasn't I don't think he was a cock. But he got the shits for sure. He was in a bad mood.
Did you find it?
I think so.
I don't know if this is the same ad that I've seen, but
changed.
There's quite a few.
Chase it.
And it's weird because obviously cigarettes haven't been able to advertise on TV for quite a while now, but this is like a new thing.
It's time.
This is this is kind of that I was talking about. A lot of slow-mo, rugged mountainscapes. So this is the one that's owned, and these are actually disposable e-cigs. So these are, you get a pack of them, and each one gives you, I think they're about like 100 to 200 puffs and then they're just discarded once they're done. Which again is obviously something that Big Tobacco would prefer a model like that, because it's more reliance on consuming something regularly and disposing it, whereas something like this, I refill this with just the liquid. This actual unit apparently burns out about every 2 or 3 months. So
this country was founded
that component's about $20. So that's the other part of this equation is cigarettes just went up again in taxes. It's pretty much gotten to $1 a cigarette to buy.
Yeah, right.
Ciggies. So economically, this is an awesome option. But yeah, I've seen the World Health Organization thing, and there's another article that just came out the other day that's trying to equate people that use e-cigarettes will be more likely to use cocaine.
Oh, really?
Which is absolute fucking ridiculous. And I've already read the debunking article saying it's absolute junk science. What the fuck? But when you see weird articles like that, I don't know, it seems like reefer madnessy to me. Just trying to muddy the waters, with bullshit science. So to me, I don't know, that's not such a bad thing. I'm not too worried. Look,
like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Like these people say one thing gives you cancer 1 week, and then it's good for you the next week, and then goes back to giving you cancer the next week.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought it was interesting that they're getting big enough now that the World Health Organization has a view on it.
Yeah, and the thing is that I put it down to this equation. Yeah, sure, there's probably... I'm not getting a free ride with this. No way. You inhale some weird substance into your body, there's going to be some negative effect.
Well, nicotine itself is a poison, isn't it?
Totally, and it's a weird one because it's the kind of drug that if you take in the right dosage is a stimulant, but then you hit this certain level where you've had too much and it becomes a relaxant. And that's why when you smoke too many ciggies out on one night, on a big night, you just get that, whoa, I need to sit down and I just don't want to have another cigarette for a long time kind of feeling. But if you get it right, and that's why a lot of people use cigarettes as a drug of choice, is because it's that pick-me-up if you get it in the right dosage amount. And I guess the art of cigarettes, the science of cigarettes over the years has gotten to the point where one cigarette is a perfect delivery medium for that balance of upper cigarette, and people choose you can't anymore, but you used to choose their milligram of cigarette of how much they wanted to get in. So, but yeah, it comes down to this equation for me. Whatever I'm inhaling with this is going to be way less what I'm getting combusting a cigarette. And I'm pretty sure when Australia went to plain packaging cigarettes, which is about 1 or 2 years ago now, there was some new laws that also got introduced that cigarettes had to self-extinguish because they were talking about how many house fires, people falling asleep with them in their mouth or whatever. And what kind of chemicals is causing a cigarette to self-extinguish after not being inhaled for a certain amount of time? That's scary. And I can't help but think when I'm smashing cigarettes in my 10-minute break, I'm inhaling nicotine, which is bad, but there's also that tar, there's also those fire retardants, there's also all of the extra shit that comes along with it. So if I can take that out of the equation by trying this, and I've only had it for the weekend, the real test is going to be when I take it to work next week and I have these 10-minute breaks, see if I can get through one without needing an analog cigarette, as they call it, versus the digital e-vape. So
how many puffs do you reckon you'd have?
Well, here's a cool thing. It's got a puff counter. So I've had 204
it's
puffs.
Like the smoker's equivalent of those watches where it detects.
Yeah, pedometer.
Awesome.
How are you clocking in today? I beat you.
I've reached my quota.
But the thing I was going to talk about when I was saying about the milligram of juice I've gotten, I think I've gone a bit too strong with the amount of juice I've gotten. So, yeah. When we got it, we plugged it in. We're like, okay, let's give this a go. I had a good 8 big puffs. And here's the other thing. I didn't know if this thing should have been drawn like a cigarette. So, bum puff into your mouth and then inhale what you've brought into your mouth into your lungs, or if you hit it like a bong, basically, and you just straight in like that.
I think that's how I smoke cigarettes anyway, though.
Straight in.
I go...
Yeah, or do you go...
I supposed to get it going. Yeah, to get the actual fire going. Yeah.
Because it's I didn't know which, because this has got a fairly good draw in it, like a fair bit of air comes through it. It doesn't have the same amount of resistance as what a cigarette butt does. Yeah. So I'm like, do I hit this like a cigarette, or do I just like on this thing? And so I had a few drags of the technique, and my knees were buckling. Hey, I was like, oh. Strap on in, and you hit it a couple times.
Oh man,
Is it like that? Have you ever done the thing where you put a patch on and then you have a smoke?
I've never used patches. This is the thing. I've never believed in those patches. Yeah. It's weird.
I think they're bullshit too.
I think that a lot of my smoking addiction is the physical act of it as well, and that's why this is a great thing, because I'm putting something to my lips and I'm blowing out smoke. Like with the nicotine patch, I'm just it's delivering the nicotine. But I remember my ex-girlfriend used to try to quit cigarettes by by putting on nicotine patches, but she'd cheat it and have a cigarette late in the day.
Man, that's
and overdose on nicotine. You can see it happening.
I haven't actually done it myself, but I have heard that's the experience. It's like that you get that big head rush. And,
and apparently it's a massive dream starter. Oh, really? So if you're not meant to sleep with them on, but if you accidentally fall asleep with a patch on, it's meant to be gnarly dreams you can't escape, like swimming in lava kind of fucking
like
shit.
Anxious dreams.
Yeah. So wow. That's not fun, but yeah.
The nightmare patch.
So yeah, I'll report in after my week of work, see how it runs.
I think
in terms of
you went to a gig though last night.
Yeah, and I was drinking beer at the gig, and that's always a big test. And I didn't have a cigarette at the gig.
And
managed to get through that
as well. It works for morning coffees.
Yeah, it's morning coffee at home on the weekend is easier for me to not have a cigarette anyway, so that morning coffee at work is going to be, let's see if it satisfies there. I'm confident. I think it'll work. But yeah, I think it'll get lower juice, and that's the thing. I can't hit it as much times as I'd hit a cigarette. Like 2 or 3 goes of this, and I'm satisfied. So
okay.
Yeah, that's the answer to how much I need to get off it, and
so that's pretty strong to me. Because how many would you have in a cigarette, do you reckon?
That's the thing. We were talking about it today. What do you reckon you get out of a cigarette? 10 drags?
Minimum?
10 to 12 sort of thing. Between 10 and 15.
So if I've had two...
So do you find those takes to be harsh though? Like in the sense that you're getting that much of a hit?
If I really toke on it hard, then I can really make it... I can feel it. Like, you know, it's a nice punch in the back of the throat kind of thing. It's funny. There's like researching it. I saw all these guys on
straight
YouTube
for that punching ball thing. Like.
And there's these guys on YouTube that mod these, and like you know what was that guy on Home Improvement where he'd like jack the power up on everything, you know,
like the lawn, like the lawnmower that like soups up and it goes through the wall. And
there's dudes that do that with these, and they're called cloud chasers. So. They're trying to get these massive like clouds, you know, blowing out when they do these things where it's like sub-ohming the coil. So the resistance of the coil is how hot it gets, and normally it's like a certain amount of ohmage, but they get coils to go down to sub-ohmage. So that's like, you know, whoa, if you sub-ohm your V-vape, dude, you're gonna see some clouds. So yeah,
open up the fucking space-time continuum.
And there's different attachments you can get. There's modifications. That's the other cool thing about this one that I got, is that it's got this thread on it here, which is like quite a universal thread. So I can get different parts of that. So that's the part where I can start modding it, and this actual unit turns into an external power supply, so I can plug in like a iPhone or, you know.
It's a power supply, but it outputs power.
So the small one is to charge this unit, but this is actually an output USB power. Yeah, which is sweet.
Show them that. That's awesome.
So that was a cool little bonus about it. And I think that might be actually how they get around like selling it. They don't actually sell it as an e-cigarette. Is like an external power supply for your phone that can also have an e-cig attachment. You know, So yeah, but no, it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it so far, and the cravings are being abated. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm obsessed with this USB battery.
I've seen them around a bit now, man.
This part, yeah.
Like, how long would you reckon? How long do you reckon?
Just those, and you
I didn't know
charge it.
that.
I was at a party not too long ago. A dude had one,
Awesome.
and yeah, you just charge it up, and it's got like banks of charge.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's got like, I don't know, 5 or 6 banks of charge.
Yeah.
And his phone was getting a bit low, and he just gives it a top up.
Yeah.
You know, like you've seen in like malls and stuff.
Well, like you
can
do
go
with
to
your phone.
The bars.
Oh yeah.
And you just charge your phone.
Yeah.
It's like one of those, but portable.
That's so awesome.
And it wasn't that big. It was boxy thing.
It seems so obvious.
Like a good idea.
Why have I not noticed USB batteries before?
There's a guy on YouTube that does a review of it, and he shows you how much you can charge with this fully charged, and he pretty much gets an iPhone that's completely dead to full battery.
Oh right, okay.
So
cool.
it can pretty much. I think it's good for charging one phone fully, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, it's pretty handy. Okay, so now I've got my list of stuff loaded up here. Let me just have a look at.
Can I just ask one last thing about that?
Yeah, shoot.
So when you're actually using it as a cigarette, that's also draining the battery as well, though.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah. I haven't. It's got like a LED that's like green, orange, red for how much charge you've used, and I haven't seen it go down to the first level of orange yet. And I've been hitting it pretty hard. But yeah, it's USB's chargeable. So when I'm at work, I've got a computer at my desk all day, just, charge it all day at work. And got a USB charger in the car now, so I can just, give it a whack in the car if I ever need to charge it up. So yeah, I haven't really drained the battery at all yet, and that was after 2 days, and I charged it last night just because I was fearful it was going to go down again, but nah, it's still on green. So yeah, no, it's pretty solid. Yeah, the whole thing cost me about, I think it was about $60, and that's including getting it sent in from the States. The juice cost me about $20, and the juice looks like it's going to last me at least a month or two, I reckon, at the rate I'm using it at the moment. So yeah, so it's so much cheaper. Like, what did you pay for a pack of cigarettes the other day?
It was $24.
$24 for a
Ridiculous.
pack of 25s?
Yeah, that's enough for me to stop. You
know what pissed me off?
$24, man.
You know what pissed me off? The day that those taxes went up, the day I had this dude come up to me where I work and scab a ciggy off me. The day that they went up.
Mate,
and this dude was in a suit. He was not like some, I really need a ciggy because I can't afford it. He's like, obviously earning twice as much as I am. Hey, man, you got a spare ciggy? Like,
how about man? How about they're $1 each now?
I think he kind of knew it. Like, I think I was being trolled in a way. Like, it's like, the cigarettes went up in tax today. I'm going to go ask this guy if I can have a spare ciggy just to see if he snaps. So it says no. Like, God damn it.
Come on, man.
Should just like start to adopt the policy of just automatically, without thinking about it, or just go, they're $1. You know what I mean?
Fully,
it's like,
yeah.
just make a promise to yourself that's what you're going to do every time, and then just go, sorry dude, I promised myself I was going to say that anytime.
Well, then,
sorry, man. You got a spare ciggy? You got a spare $1? Here you go. Done.
$1.
$1. Do you want to buy that for $1?
And I bet you'd say no.
But yeah, I'll save a lot of money vaping, I believe. I hope.
So what would you say if this guy came up and asked for a suck on your vape?
That's what I was thinking. Like, now it's just like fucking. I would deliberately take the first suck and like have as much stringy cheese come off it as I passed it over. Like, please partake.
You have to promise to make that exact noise when you do it.
It is good. It is good for you.
What's mine is yours.
Get it in, your son.
Nice.
Okay, let me see.
And you're on roll.
Hey, so Barnsey, I ran into someone that you recorded a long time ago.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
And told him I was coming here. It was Johnny T. You recorded...
no way.
Oh, what are they called again?
Johnny T was in...
Worse Off. The Worse Off?
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, I ran into him today. Yeah.
Awesome. Whereabouts did you see
just
him?
down at the Addison Road Markets.
Yeah, cool.
Down in Marrickville.
Yeah?
Yeah. So...
is he still playing? What's he?
Yeah. He's doing a few things. He's playing in a band called Chinese Burns Unit with with Gleno from Lawn Smell.
Yeah.
And Jay from Frenzal Rom.
Awesome.
Oh, wicked, man.
Yeah, and they're cool. And they're sort of like they're like a sort of like hard edge, sort of like bit pop punky, sort of, you know, like bit Frenzally, but bit more rock almost, you know, and a bit more
awesome.
They're called Chinese Burns Unit. And you know, so and all their artwork is like Gleno artwork as well, so it's all just fantastic.
Oh, awesome, man.
Got like great t-shirts and stuff, and yeah, they're cool, man. They're really
What's his
good.
name?
Yeah, that's it.
Chinese Burns Unit. Thanks a look.
Just check the viewers have got it. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, Frenzal, Jay from Frenzal has been doing acoustic solo shows as well.
I read about that. Yeah, I read like a review.
A couple of my mates' bands were supporting him, and they were saying it was they were awesome shows. Yeah, which is weird. Like I wouldn't have picked.
Well, you know what I read in the review that I thought made it sound really interesting is like, and I thought this is a really interesting way of looking at it. Is they were saying that, you know, with the punk band with Frenzal, it's like it's also frenetic and fast and stuff like that. That sometimes like some of the meaning gets lost in how like clever and meaningful his lyrics actually are.
Yeah.
And they were saying that when you hear it on acoustic, and you can actually really hear a bit more what's going on and follow the stories and the you know, the songs that he's like the stories that he's telling, that it's like has a lot more poignance, or not more, but it's just, you know, it's just a different, you know, way of being able to see what's going on.
Yeah. Fucking, I saw Frenzal at the Annandale about a year and a half ago now. Fuck, it was so good. Like, it was when they hadn't played for a while, and they then did a run of shows again. And fuck, man, they're a tight band live. Yeah, they're so tight and so fast. Is it still Gordy on drums? Yeah. It's just a machine, that dude. Just so fucking, and like I'm not like familiar with the whole Frenzal catalog because it's massive.
So much.
Sure. It's massive.
So much.
But I know a bit, and the stuff that I did know, that they played it faster than the album.
Yeah,
like,
they're freaks.
The album was fast as shit. Like, they're fucking awesome live, man.
I reckon for Father's Day we should play that film clip. There's your dad. There's your dad. There is your dad. There's your dad. Oh,
that's such an awesome song.
Guys, do you know Mind Snare?
I've heard of that.
Mind Snare.
I've heard of that.
I can't say I have.
Oh my god, they're just off the fucking charts.
Really?
That's Gordy from Frenzal.
Yeah.
Playing drums, and they're like a hardcore band, like kind of old school hardcore.
Right.
And just ridiculous, like ridiculous. It's so fast and tight and heavy and just epic.
How many piece band?
4.
Yeah, right.
So it's got what's his name? The guitarist from Blood Duster.
Oh yeah, wow.
It plays in Mind Snare as well. Mind Snare was his original band. Yeah.
Full on.
Yeah.
Blood Duster are a fuking awesome band.
Fuck yeah.
What a name, Mind Snare.
Yeah. And Blood Duster.
I Blood Duster have been around for fucking ages, haven't they? Like early 90s.
I remember seeing him at Club 77 one night, and the singer was there with his like aviators and his bandana and stuff, and just remember the drummer was with the old drummer, and he's like doing the old school like Tommy Lee stick twirls, like,
right,
in the middle of like awesome. Big like stomping like riffs and stuff. Like obviously not doing the fast bits.
Yeah.
Like these ones, but like just doing it so well as well.
That's awesome.
Like it's so cheesy, but like when someone does that really well, it's like the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's fully. Like you can kind of, like even if I never would. I would always just be that is fucking sick. but even for people that kind of go like it's a bit, it's a bit cheesy. You know that they're secretly inside kind of, but it kind of does look fucking. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, it is hard to deny.
I don't really want to admit it. But.
It is hard to deny. It's when it's added with like fingerless gloves and fucking duck face looks. If it's pulled out tastefully, and if it's during truly undeniable playing. Sure. It's like, what are you going to say? Like,
Have you seen that clip of the dude, the drummer from Slaughter playing Up All Night?
No.
And it's a shot from behind, and he's like playing the kick drum with his foot, and like just like it's nuts, and fully holding down this full song and just going like hitting the cymbals upwards and grabs and like just. Going
so it's them playing live, and it's like a rear camera shot. Yeah,
exactly right.
I love those kind of shots.
Just say drummer Up All Night.
There's an awesome one of a Tool gig that's just on Danny Carey.
Oh, sorry.
For the Tool drum solo.
There it is. There, the fourth one.
This one.
Yeah. Have a go at this dude.
So press the button.
Did you hear about the drummer that locked the keys in the car?
Took him 3 hours to get the bass player out. But my years of working in a recording studio, I know all the good ones. There's a whole series of those. Why do drummers leave their drumsticks on the dashboard of their car?
Why?
So they can park in handicap spaces. What do you call a drummer who's just lost his girlfriend?
Unemployed.
Homeless.
Oh, homeless.
How do you know a drummer's at your front door?
Oh, the knock slows down?
Yes, third knock's always out of time, and he never knows when to come in. Which I've heard switched around for different fucking members of the band.
I was like the one, how do you know when a guitarist is at a party?
Oh, you'll know.
He'll fucking tell you.
Oh, you'll know.
Fucking A. Oh, I can play that. Yeah, I know that.
All right. So my next point that I wanted to bring up and talk about there's this new product that I saw on the internet the other day that I laughed at, and at the same time had a piece of my heart that was like, finally someone has come out with this technology. This is great. It's called the Knee Defender, right? And it's this $20 bit of plastic you can buy that you wedge into an airline seat in front of you. That will stop somebody from reclining their seat back onto your knees. And there's all these wars waging out on different airlines. Like, I've read these articles of people coming to stoushes because people have bought them and wedged the seat in front of them to stop the knee fucking problem. And the dude in front's like, it's my right to recline my seat. And the dude in back is like, you know, and we're all pretty long-legged people here, so we're probably on the side of people that have copped somebody that's reclined on a plane and whacked your legs. Like, if you had that experience,
it doesn't bother me too much, but I've been in a plane with you. It bothers you.
Oh, it annoys the shit out of me.
I find it more the, you know, like the actual seat coming down into your face. You've got the tray there. If you want to like read, you've just got this thing right in your face. That's what I find more so than the
fully
legs.
Yeah. That's it. That's the thing. Right. Yeah. So you basically wedge it in, and
that's so fucking cunty, man.
You think that's a cunty act?
Or do you? No, I do.
Easier just to go to somebody.
So this is the moment I've been waiting for. It's like, okay, so where do we all stand on this?
Well,
is it too hard to go up to somebody and say, "Hey, excuse me, do you mind? My legs are getting crushed here. Can you just move your seat a little bit, please?"
Totally.
Rather than going,
that's definitely the better option. I think that thing is ridiculous.
To you, I'm gonna be a cunt to you.
No, I think that thing is ridiculous.
It is probably going a step too far, but there are some people that really don't like confrontation. Like, I hate having to be put into a position where I have to get up and talk to fucking Mr. Douchebags that's sitting in front of me and say, put myself out there and go, dude, do you mind if you don't? Like, I become the fucking guy that's got a problem.
So are you a non-recliner then?
I'm a total non-recliner. Now, I'm having said this, I'm saying this having never travelled internationally. I've never flown a plane outside of Australia. I've only done trips from Sydney. The longest one I've done is Sydney to Melbourne. So that's easy to not recline on. And that's probably where my issue comes as well, is that, dude, it's a fucking 1.5 hour flight. You need to recline. Oh, you're so fucking tired at 1 o'clock in the afternoon that you need to recline your fucking seat for this fucking 90-minute flight. Now, if it was to Hawaii or somewhere like that, then maybe I could understand reclining, and I probably want to recline myself. But when it's such a short flight, that's a bit much. Like, come on. And there's dudes that, you know, they get on the flight and before they've even settled in, it's just boom. I'm back in my chair. Deal. You know, just deal.
Yeah, like even as people in the row behind are trying to get into their seats, it's like, just go around. Like,
they're trying to get you know, diabetes medicine sorted on your tray, and he's like, just deal with it, buddy. I'm gonna make you stand up and ask me not to do this. Like, and this is that clip thing is a way for them just to stop it in its tracks. Now, is it
so can I just ask, where have these been used? Is it been in America?
Oh yeah, it's been in the States.
Seems the obvious place where it would be. Of course, it's American.
Yeah, right? I'm pretty sure they're not international flights; they're domestic flights. So if it was a international flight, there'd probably be like ways that they could go. So you just can't even have that on the plane. I would lose my
shit if someone asked me to sit on a long haul flight
without reclining.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, when
being reasonable, and look, you know,
I mean,
people recline.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Cheers.
But you know, you can't be a cunt about it either.
No,
and like you're saying, like you don't want confrontation, right? How's the confrontation going to be once you put those things in, and then they realise they can't fucking recline, and then they stand up and see these things? They're just going to go, "Oh, fuck you, mate, doof."
I think the whole idea is just off its guts.
I don't know. Is the seatage that you get on economy in domestic flight in Australia, is that essentially the same as domestic on an international flight? So it's the same amount of space you're dealing with on a long flight. Well, in that case, I guess that
and
you're going to have to recline.
When you're reclined and the person in front of you is reclined, it's not too bad. But
and just picture it, like you're trying to recline your seat. Yeah. And the person next to you is able to recline, and you can't do yours. And you're like, what the fuck? You just
drive you nuts, wouldn't it? Oh my god, can you imagine though? Like, I just put myself in the position. I could never do that to someone. Like, I could never. Yeah. No, that's just not right. But what you were saying is, I think is exactly right. It's like if because I'm a bit long, so maybe I've like reclined as well, and because only long people recline. I don't know what I'm talking about. No, but I have reclined, and if someone came to me and said, "Oh, look, I'm really sorry, you're actually just like going on my knees a bit. Is there any chance you could go a bit forward?" I'd be like, "For sure." Like, I wouldn't want to go like all the way upright, but if someone just went, "Oh, if you just go this much, then it's cool." Like, I'm just going to have a problem with that. Like,
I guess, it's
to your fellow man.
It's a case of that's gone crazy. We're getting to the point where you can't stand up and just go, "Hey, dude, do you mind?" And you're buying a product that will physically stop somebody doing it. But I got to admit, the first time I saw the picture of that shit, I was like, finally, fucking bastards, I can do something about this. Like,
So you have had like an ongoing problem with this, like it's really bothered you.
It does. It annoys me. It does. It totally does.
Because have you had that yourself? That experience? No. It's not anything that's really bothered me.
I've gone to. Admittedly, I'm pretty sure it was with like business class mostly, but I've went to Hong Kong and shit and back a few times.
On my flight over to.
Wasn't too bad. And I can't say it was a massive issue for me personally. Yeah. On domestic flights, I've seen it, and it does piss you off when you've got your tray down. That pisses you off. It kind of like gives you less room. But overall,
it's not anything that's written.
It's a nitpick. It's a nitpick.
I did have one brutal experience when I went to Germany. The second leg of the flight from Kuala Lumpur to Germany, which is a massive flight. I think it's something like 14 and 10 hours, something like that. So like, like epic flight, and then like an hour and a half stopover in the middle, and you run into your little smoking cubicle,
right?
Like the one little room in the airport, and you're in there, and it's just like rank with smoke. Probably just walking in there,
just this box of death.
But then when I got back on the plane on the second leg, this dude came and sat next to me, and like, if there's my arm,
this is another issue.
He's this far over, so like so there's my arm. I'm like this, and he's like this, and he's wearing like this like sort of shiny jacket.
Oh no!
And it was weird too, because he was actually quite short, but just really wide. Just sort of went out like that. And he kind of, I asked him where he was from. He said Macedonia.
Oh, right.
And I feel so bad saying he smelled like he'd been eating some sort of spicy sausage. I don't know what it was. There was some spice or something that I was smelling that I was just kind of going like, that's not in anything that I eat. Like, not that I'm not trying to say anything bad about him, but it was because there's nothing wrong with that. But it was just a strange experience of being like this and going. I've got like, I think it was the second leg, so I think it was shorter, and I think it was like maybe 10 or 11 hours.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've got that long like this, and I couldn't, I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't bring myself to complain or.
See, that scares me.
But you've got a basis to complain. You can't feel bad about that. That's somebody taking it. That's going over being courteous. That's where you say, look, sorry, man, could you just move up a little bit?
I mean, we've had this rant before, but it's like in the same vein as that, as like Mr. fucking over fucking use my armrest space.
Yeah.
Is part of the reason why I really am hesitant to go to the cinemas these days. Like fucking,
really?
oh man, I've had real. It is bad.
It's not that bad.
Are we really going to not talk about the last time we went to the fucking cinemas?
I have to
was
hear
bad.
this.
Holy shit!
That was bad.
It was so bad. We went and saw
What was it?
Edge of Tomorrow. Is that the name of it? The Tom Cruise
how was
one.
that?
I love the movie. awesome
man, I
movie.
really wanted to see that at the
Fucking
cinema.
heaps cool.
Really
heaps
good
cool.
concept. It's like what I heard that was really good about it.
It's
was
like Groundhog Day with like futuristic fucking mech warriors. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
It's super cool, and Tom Cruise is really good in it, and it's really well paced. The CGI and it's fucking mad. It's one of those movies that gets me to the cinema. You know?
Yeah, for sure. That's one that I definitely wanted to see.
I want to see those kind of movies on the big screen and have the big loud experience at seeing it at the movies.
But what I heard about it though that really made it and it's something that I also enjoyed about a movie that I just saw the other night is that it apparently has like really funny humour in it, like moments that make it real. Whereas like I find a lot of these action nowadays are so funny and serious all the time, and that's not what life is like. It's like stuff that's happening in your life, you still have a laugh every now and again. Stupid happens.
I miss just a touch of realism. Even when you're watching something that's meant to be unrealistic, it doesn't mean you can't have a bit of like human element in there or a bit of realness. Like we've had this rant about the latest season of 24. We're massive fans of Jack Bauer and 24. We've watched all of the seasons, but there was something where like, I don't know, we were able to see behind the curtain with it this time round, and just the unbelievability of certain parts.
Well, so do the characters themselves ever acknowledge like the ridiculousness of this kind of shit constantly happening to them?
Not really.
Really. No. It's more like when you're defying physics, I just tap out. I'm like, dude, you just blew up a building with rocket A, but rocket B landed behind our feet and we'll just dive kind of to like, like that kind of shit. It takes away the lethality of shit in movies. A gun being fired is a fucking hectic thing, and you don't want to be around when someone's shooting a fucking gun at you. Not fucking, just duck and weave and you'll miss every bullet. Like, show me some people getting fucked up, and then the next time that gun's pulled out and shown, I'll have a bit of, oh fuck, this is heavy, something's going to go down. But anyway, we're going, that's a whole other argument. The thing with Edge of Tomorrow and seeing it in the cinema, and why I'm hesitant on going into the public in certain things like that now is... Do you not remember that fucking family? There was this whole family that had gone to the cinema.
I don't know if it was a whole family.
It was. How would you excuse it? Yeah, it was a whole family of people, and
there was a pretty small theatre too. Let's say that it was a small theatre.
Yeah. And there was the usual candidates of things that annoy me at the cinema, like the Mr. Over loud popcorn eater, it's like, dude. And then over
laughing
here
at the ads.
Ads.
I'm like, man, it's a fucking ad. You've seen it fucking 20 times on TV, and you're gonna chuckle because you haven't been able to.
He bought a Jeep.
Oh my god, that fucking ad. Oh my god,
it's a
I will
grand
never
campaign.
In my entire life buy a Jeep.
I know.
Because of that
it's like an
ad.
anti ad, isn't it? Like
I never realised I was anti-Jeep until I fucking heard that ad. Oh my god.
Yeah, overlapping ads. The ovation guitar.
Oh man.
But yeah, the overlapping at the ads. But then over this side is just in one row ahead of me is Mr. fucking brightest mobile phone screen ever fucking used.
It's more
constantly just scrolling Facebook, just checking Twitter. In the middle of the movie starting, man, and the screen is 10 times less bright than your screen on your mobile phone. My eye's naturally gonna want to be attracted to your phone. Like, just turn it off. Of course, there's been those ads. Everyone turn your mobile phone off. Think of others. People don't give a fuck.
They don't care.
They don't give a fuck. But anyway, so we're getting into the movie, and I'm able to get past Mr. Popcorn and Mr. Mobile Phone, and fucking then we start to realise. Like, the first that I realised that this guy had fallen asleep in the movie was that he does this, like, noise that people only make when they're asleep and they get woken up really quickly. So he's like... Like, I saw him. He was, like, out on his chair.
Were you watching him?
And something loud happens in the movie, and he's like... he fully made that noise, like... I'm like, what the hell? And I looked over, and, like, the whole family's, like, just acting like this. They're just at home, and Dad's fallen asleep on the couch, and this is what he does. Oh, Dad. Oh, silly Dad. Like, I'm what the fuck is going on?
Fucking $18 to sit here, and I gotta listen to that.
And then the movie got so loud that I couldn't hear him, so I'm like, fine, whatever.
So was he doing this like a number of times?
He then got to sleep hard and was like snoring hard and like...
It wasn't like a little bit of snoring, it was like ripping carpet, you know, like it was, oh man. Now that is an exception to the rule. That doesn't happen every time I go to the cinemas, but it does make me just pick my battles. It makes me go, okay, this movie better be fucking pretty awesome, because, you know, we've all got pretty good, you know, home entertainment systems now. You know, big screen TVs, plasmas and stuff are pretty cheap. Yeah. You know, you can get a lot of good high quality content downloaded this way, you know, legitimately. You can buy it on iTunes and watch it, you know, not long after it's come out in the cinemas these days. So it's making it hard to justify, you know, that experience. I love IMAX still. There's still some movies that, like, I went and saw Tron at IMAX, which was fucking so
was
good.
It 3D?
Yeah, Tron 3D, yeah. And it was like...
I saw Gravity.
The edges of the screen at the IMAX are that far off that the 3D is fully immersive. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like, did you see Gravity 3D at IMAX?
Yeah. The Sandra Bullock one. Yeah, that would have been an awesome movie.
That was great. So it was at the Fox Studios, like the entertainment quarter Hertz there. And they had an IMAX screen. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I went for a day session.
Oh, awesome, man.
Yeah.
Gravity was pretty cool. I would have liked to have seen that big screen.
It wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. But yeah, it does sort of make me hesitant to see, you know, I don't go to the cinemas as much as I used to, you know.
Definitely. 100%. I remember when I was living in Hong Kong and I was a teenager, there was nothing else for me to do. I used to go and see movies I didn't care what was on. I'm just going to go to the movies.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to the movies. It's something for me to do for a couple of hours. And, like, I saw some of the most shittest movies, like, 6-7 times in the theaters. Like, I remember I was a 14-year-old kid. Yeah. You know, I was like...
Tango and Cash?
That's a bit early for me. The one I remember is Speed. I saw Speed in the cinemas.
Wow, that would have been awesome.
Probably about 20 times.
Wow.
Yeah. No joke.
Yeah.
And what you did in Hong Kong in those days, I don't know if it's the same anymore, you went and you fucking chose your seat. There was like an LCD screen, you pressed the button, and that was your seat.
Well, I was going to...
Kind of like they do that now with ticketing.
We went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy the other night.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the other movie that I was saying that was like a great adventure ride, but it had that sense of humour. Like, I really enjoyed it, dude. I thought it was great.
Heaps of people said it's really good.
So much... You know what?
And people are saying that the non-human characters were the best. Like that... is it Groot? Groot.
Yeah,
does it feel like a Marvel movie or does it feel like a Disney movie?
It does feel like a Marvel movie. Yeah, it feels a bit like both, but not in a bad way. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the old Star Wars in a way, where it's like there's like funny crap happening like all the time, and it's this real kind of like no one's like overthinking things and like self-analyzing and getting all dark and morbid about stuff. They're just dealing with it's just an adventure ride, you know, with like, you know, some good bits of like, you know, kinetic energy and, you know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, good sense of humour as well. Yeah, good music and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, no, I want to check it out. There's a certain online forum that does movie reviews, and there's like certain people that whenever they review a movie that I've seen, it's kind of similar or aligned to how I thought about the movie. It's always a good way to sort of get good, you know, reviews. You know, obviously you find somebody that's got a similar taste to you, and then if they give a movie a good, you know, review, it's going to be something you like. And everyone that I've read said that movie surprised them, and they actually went in thinking, oh, okay, you know, bit of a kids movie, you know, I'll check it out for the CGI, and they're like, man, it's like, you know, awesome, really good watch.
I come from Earth, a planet of outlaws. My name is Peter Quill. There's one other name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
Who? Middle
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
An hour and a half early.
Guys.
We've got the tickets. Sitting in the seats so this is kind of like related back to this thing like with the fucking seat wedger, and it's like, how do you, what do you do with that confrontation? Like do you go, oh, listen, man, come on, we like specifically got here early and registered, but we didn't really get there early. We got there early because we were having a fucking meal. So I know, but this is
the
thing.
System does not work.
I know that
the system does not work sometimes. Like there's a system in place where I pick my fucking seats, and I just want to walk up and sit in them.
I know. Yeah, but then it comes back. But then it comes back to the same question. It's like we were able to sit just next to them, so we're slightly off center. And for the first like 30 seconds, I was like, I'm fucking slightly off center. It was like 2 seats over. I'm still there going, it's not straight. It's not straight. And there was even seats like directly in front of them. But I just, we sort of walked in and went, let's just sit here, like as you do. But that's the thing. That's what you do, isn't it? You don't go, oh, come on, guys. There are, like you let it go, don't you?
How it to do that? They were so packed every seat.
Oh yeah, but
you had to take your set seat.
It would be a different thing if the whole cinema was totally full and the only 2 seats were like the very front row on the very far right. You'd be like, nah, fuck, piss off.
Yeah, fully. Yeah.
But in this case, it's like,
I let that shit grind me too much, I think, sometimes. Like, I'd be sitting there for the rest of the movie and, like, not enjoying the movie, going, the seat, like, 2 seats across from there is better, Even then there's, like, as you said, there's a row in front that you can have the...
But
and then fall asleep. Oh, yeah.
What did you think about this thing with the dude grabbing the kid off the swing the other day?
What was that? What? No.
So
is this tying into this whole like demonization of men that's been going around at the moment? How you can't.
Men.
There was revealed that you can't. That airlines can't seat a single male next to a child when they're doing their seating arrangements on a plane. And Tracy Spicer came out and is this a kind of a similar thing? I think a
little bit. Yeah. What it is so there was a woman was with her. I think it was. I can't remember if it was a boy or a girl. Little kid was on the swing, and the guy came up, and they'd been on there for a while, and the guy came up and said, are you going to be much longer, or can we have a go on the swing? Because he was there with his little kid.
Right.
And then she was like, just another 5 minutes. And then something's happened. Anyway, he's grabbed the kid off the swing, taken her off after, I guess, a couple of minutes or whatever. And she's freaked out and she called the cops.
Oh, right.
Fuck, okay.
Yeah. So do you know what I mean?
Wait. He took the kid off the swing?
Yeah,
did you say?
He
right.
took her kid off the swing that he didn't know.
I don't know about calling the cops.
Right.
I think he might have overstepped a bit by grabbing the kid and taking her off the swing.
Yeah. But see, to me, this is what I think of the knee buster. I think the knee buster is the equivalent of calling the cops in this situation.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Does it have to come to this place?
100%.
And I would hope that once the cops arrived there, they'll
just go, look, you fucking idiots.
I wouldn't have praised it like that, but I would have hoped that the cops would have been like as much of come on lady as they would have been like, dude, you probably shouldn't have done that.
You guys should have sorted this out, and I
which would be the common sense prevailing in that situation. But
unfortunately, that's the thing is they are. To my mind, they're both in the wrong.
It's an interesting angle on that though. Is how much of a pass is he getting because he's a parent of another kid that wanted to go over a swing? What if I had rocked up to that playground and just me wanted to have a go at that swing, and I was like, "Hey, are you done?"
I think.
And she was like, 5 minutes.
It's not meant for you. It's meant for kids.
No, it's public. No, that's council paid. No way. It's more mine. It is more mine than that kid.
You're a ratepayer.
Exactly. Yeah. Fuck that kid.
That kid hasn't paid shit.
I've given that kid 5 more minutes. Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and then the 5 minutes pass, and then I pick that kid off the swing, and I just have a swing. You know, and I'm still swinging when the cops rock up. You reckon the cops would be lenient?
I think she would have been right in calling the cops in that situation.
I think the cops probably.
I think only one person was wrong in that situation.
I mean, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you know.
I pay my taxes.
But yeah, like she should have just been cool and set a good example for a kid, and he should have just walked away.
That's the other thing.
He should have just taken his kid somewhere else and go, look, we'll go somewhere else. We'll do something else.
Yeah.
You know, as much as it would have been like, no, you know, you fantasize about like doing something stupid, but you don't do it.
Yeah. It would be like, see, son, this is a good example of sometimes you just walk away. Just walk away.
You gotta know when to fold them.
Just win it. Walk away. That's all you need to do.
Fucking doesn't Facebook become a minefield sometimes?
Oh, dude.
Oh my god. You gotten into some weird like fucking like stoushes on Facebook?
Oh yeah.
It's fucking weird sometimes, isn't it? It's so because you're so disjointed. You just
totally
fangs just come out, don't they? I find myself doing it as well, but I try not to.
It's a weird internet thing. Like, I mean, I guess we've got the advantage of sort of seeing the internet happen a little bit before Facebook and being able to get a bit of an internet etiquette established. You know, there's the obvious things like don't feed the trolls, and there's people that are out there just for reactions and, you know, all of that. But I mean, far out. Like, I try to have the philosophy of, if I wouldn't walk in, even if everybody that's listening to my comment are anonymous people, like it's just throwing a YouTube comment up and it's not like Facebook of people that I know, and it's an anonymous forum, I still try to have the opinion of, would I walk into a room full of those people and say that, you know, and not expect to fucking look like either a dickhead or get your head punched in, you know?
Well, I think I've already established that I wouldn't, because I wouldn't even like ask someone to move their seat or whatever, you know. So clearly I wouldn't.
The way some people carry themselves online is just like crazy, you know? Like, it's so confrontational. It's
too easy, isn't it?
I can't help but think that in some capacity, though, it is a snapshot of humanity. You know, you know, sure. If it all collapses and some hard drive survives, and that's like, you know, between 1995 and 2015, that's the most common record of human interaction that is available. You'd have a pretty dim view, you know, on people overall. It depends where you looked, I guess, but if you're looking on YouTube comments and Facebook, you know, and stuff.
It's the cesspool of the internet is YouTube comments. YouTube is terrible.
Yeah, but I think you can look at it just from the point of view of, as long as you've got that perspective that this is people representing themselves in a way that they never would face to face, and don't take it on that level. You can look at it more as just like entertainment. And
definitely.
I think a lot of the, you know, because you get this like, you so often hear this doomsday, it's the death of society and all this sort of stuff, and I think it's like, well, yeah, that's if you take it at face value. Do you know what I mean?
All we have. Right. If that's the only interaction we're going to have, then that's a worry. But it's not. And, yeah.
I mean, can you honestly say that...
For face value.
How often is it that you actually see a comment or see something that you kind of go, okay, it's one thing to look at it and think, okay, I would never say that. But how often is it that you look at a comment and go, I would never think that? Even, like, a lot of the harsh shit, I can kind of go, like, I could see myself thinking that. I would never say it, you know. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's what it is. It's removed that kind of barrier to.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like almost the first knee-jerk reaction a mind has. People are totally cool with posting that straight away, you know, like, you know, faggot, or like fucking you suck, or fucking, you know, or fucking die in a fire. I love that one. Then that turns just into DIAF. And I remember there was this one Facebook thread that I remember, and there was this fucking person going, die in a fire, and this other person joined in on the thread. It's like, my daughter died in a house fire. I really would appreciate if you people stop using that little acronym DIAF, because it's very... It disturbs me every time I have to read it, and then like you recoil, you physically recoil when you read that shit. You're like, holy fuck! And that's the fallout of people just being anonymous, fucking throwing punches in the dark. Yeah. You know, I wish sometimes you connect with somebody that you're like, oh, sorry, dude. Like,
I wish you hadn't just told me that story, because I'm just sitting here thinking like that is the most awesome name for a metal song I've ever heard.
It is.
Die in a fire. That's incredible.
It is gold.
And then you can get like the t-shirts, the DIAF t-shirts.
It's just like a flailing like human like reaching for a doorknob on fire. Like
it's got to be a young girl. That's terrible.
Can you explain why that is? Yeah. What's your reasoning? No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just curious why you think.
Daughter. You got to acknowledge the mother.
We don't want to imply that it might be her daughter. It is your daughter.
She died.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. What are we talking about?
Random YouTube comments and just the randomness and fucking how harsh it can be online. It's funny though, because on the other side of it, there can be people that will say fucking fucked up shit. The thing with the internet is that it exposes everybody to everybody, and what used to be like a very small pocket of thinking can be exposed to a lot of people that think the same way. So for example, somebody can post some really racist shit, some really fucking dumb shit that's like science, you know, obviously is debunked, you know, and they can find enough people that are like-minded that it almost seems like it's a justification that this is a right way to think, you know, and that can be a pretty messed up way, like, you know, and we all do it though. We all like the kind of things on Facebook and social media that are aligned to our interests, and it's, you know, the more you do that, the less likely it is you're going to get a voice that goes against what you think, you know, and some would say that's a gentrification of the internet, and that the trolls are there to really shake stuff up. And the art of a good troll, like, I understand the art of trolling. There's some like
good trolling, yeah.
There's the famous one where I'm sure we've all seen it, where somebody asked a friend to do like a internet ad for selling something for them, and they just start doing these stupid, like in MS Paint, really ridiculous ads and sending it back, and they're like, no, that's not what I want it to look more professional. And they're like, how about this? And they start to put like cocks on it and shit, like, you know, and this person's raging like, I just asked you for a favor and now you've wasted my time, and like that kind of shit's hilarious, you know, like, but then you get other, you know, areas of the internet where people are genuinely reaching out for help, or fucking, you know, there's a community of people that are genuinely trying to just get into something cool, like a guild of Warcraft or something like that, and somebody comes in and just shits on their parade. You're all fucking losers. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, it seems to be, and I'm a big, I'm turned into a Reddit user, and there's a lot of people on Reddit that just don't give a fuck. Like, there's a couple of really good communities, but the big community I'm in is for a game I'm playing at the moment for days. And there's this thing called circle jerks, and the whole thread, it starts off with one person being a cunt, and the other person tries to rebut that person being a cunt, and in the process becomes a cunt themselves, and so it becomes this big circle jerk thing. It's weird, man. But yeah, I've been on Reddit for about 8 months or so now, from the start of this community. When the community started, it was really helpful. I used it. It was a tool to help me progress, and it was a really good forum for us all meet and talk and discuss things. And now it's just people like, vehicles. I want vehicles. Where are they? Pay my fucking $30. Where is this shit? Come on. And it's a cancer. It's just like, it's fucked, man. It's like, you know, this is a community. We're here to have a discussion. And you know,
those threads just always devolve, don't they?
Yeah.
Ultimately,
as they get more popular, as people know about them, it's like, you know, you need that community for it to thrive. But as it gets too big, it's inevitable. There's dickheads and cunts everywhere, and they're going to infiltrate. They will.
Yeah,
they're coming.
Is that a sign, you know, that everything, all good things get spoiled, you know? Like, it's sometimes I wonder that, you know, like, is it just a sign of the human stain, you know, everything when everything gets popular, it just becomes shit.
Or is it up to the community themselves to, you know, identify these issues and snub them out, you know? And
like good moderators, like basically internet police that come in. Then people say, you know, then that's not a free internet. And I'm not one for somebody, you know, being a decider of what gets posted on the internet.
That's where
is it just a necessary evil?
The community decides, you know, but when that community itself gets compromised, that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
And, you know, they upvote stuff that is important to them.
Yeah, that's
true. You know, it's the majority kills, you know, and it's just the majority of people. I don't understand. This is a game that's been out for like 9 months. They paid $30, and on the surface of it, there's not much has changed. And they just come in and go, "What the fuck, man? I paid my money. This is going nowhere." But if you actually had a look into it, and it's controversial and there's different views on it, but if you actually have a look at it, they have gone a long way. There is a lot going on that just isn't immediately evident.
Right.
So, and it's just those voices, the voices of reason get drowned out by the majority of people wailing and complaining. And that seems to be the way of the internet at the moment. It's just the majority of people that, you know, are fucking wailing or are controversial seem to drown out the reasonable, calm-minded few.
Well, speaking of Reddit, I don't Reddit that much. Do you do much Reddit?
I don't really. I've heard about a couple of Reddits, but I've never done Reddit.
Yeah, no. I don't quite get that upvoting system. It seems to be like it.
Can you just very basically explain to me like how it works, what it is?
It's just like an internet forum, but the way that it works is that it's subreddits. So you've got reddit.com, which is the master site, and then people just come up with their own genre of what they want to talk about, and that will become a subreddit. So there's like, you know, there's ones for computer games, there's ones for like lolcats,
astronomy. You know, anything.
A big thing with Reddit that sort of got it popular is the Ask Me Anything series.
Yeah, these celebrities that just go online and do it live.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So they'll have a live stream of forum questions, and they'll try and answer as much as they can in a certain amount of time. And that's sort of how I heard of Reddit, is certain people going on for that. But yeah, I don't quite get the upvoting system. For me, it sort of promotes a popularist way of posting. I can see how you're saying it gets rid of like dickhead trolls and shit because they don't get voted up, but the people that post that if you like that post, there's like a little thumbs up thing, and the more thumbs up, the more up in the top of the thread that post will appear.
Oh, so it's not in chronological order.
That's what I find confusing about it, is that it's not a chronological post.
Set it to chronological order if you want.
Right.
But the traditional way of doing it is looking at your votes.
But Reddit's so popular now is that there's no thread with less than like 1,000, 2,000 posts on it. You know, they're really long threads, and that's why the upvoting system kind of does make sense, because the most important information, you know, rises to the top.
But it's the most important information according to, not to you, but to the majority of the community of the Reddit site. So if the majority view is not something that is correct, in inverted commas, then that gets promoted up to the top, and then people go there and they think that that's the
and that means that a lot of the top comments are like one-line quips.
Yeah.
You know, like it's some awesome, like, you know, scientific article on how, you know, if you eat 2 more bananas a day, you can extend your lifespan, and the first comment that's got like 900 thumbs up is, ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Or a gif of like a fucking monkey or something.
So it's like, god damn it. It's like, but the reason why
my fucking gold, man, like that one I saw the other night, I saw one on DayZ the other night and I can't remember what the thread was about, and it was this fucking Bigfoot, and it was just the eyes moving with his mouth open. Oh man, it was so fucking funny, and I was just like, upvote.
But see, that's the kind of thing that Reddit promotes, and it's cool for that, like, you know, in internet jokes and stuff. But one thing that I wanted to bring up about Reddit that hit the news recently was this big internet leak, the big hack of the iCloud, right? And it was
the Fappening.
The Fappening, I saw that.
So that was the thread that was on Reddit, which has been shut down since. But it was called the Fappening, and I've actually found that thread pretty interesting because there was it seemed to be a split in the community of, okay, yes, all of these nudes are out there, let's get them out to as many people as we want, versus this whole, oh no, this is property that should not be shared, and, you know, basically internet white knights coming out and going, you know, we shouldn't be sharing this, you know.
Hans, you're my white knight.
So it leads to the question of, you know, it leads to several questions, but I mean, you know, my first reaction to it was, okay, so celebrities, they're kind of in the business of not selling sex, but there's definitely a suggestion of, how do I put this? Okay, if I don't think that there's any celebrities that got leaked in these nude pic leaks that haven't done some kind of FHM Ralph swimsuit shoot. You know what I mean? Like they kind of like know that that's a commodity that they're selling, and it's part of the package that they are celebrity for.
But these weren't photos for sale. These were personal photos.
True, definitely. But, you know, do you think that the onus is on the public once they do become leaked? Do you really think that you become a bad person for wanting to seek out a photograph of somebody that's you've seen in movies and in, like, you know, glamorous photo shoots? Is that really, like, is it...
I think the action itself is clearly morally wrong.
The leaking of them?
Well, yes, but also to look at them knowing that they're... you know, it wasn't their intention for them to be it's stolen, and it's personal, and it wasn't their intention to have that out there in the public, and I think, you know, it is clearly morally wrong. But, you know, like, I mean, we use the phrase, does that make you a bad person? I mean, I don't think that every person that's done that is like a bad person, I think that action itself is clearly like the wrong thing to do. It is. It's not a grey area. It's like pretty black and white. It's like if you do it, you're doing something that's morally wrong.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I'm sure heaps of people are doing it. You know, like, and I don't think they're all like terrible people. No, I think it's a terrible situation.
A lot of the hosting sites are getting shut down. Like a lot of the celebrities are getting pretty high powered lawyers on the case, and but it's, you know, it's the internet, man. Once those things are out, it's done. You know, Pandora's box has been opened pretty much. But yeah, what
have you ever done any nude photos of yourself?
No. Well, okay.
I mean, I haven't.
Here's the thing. Okay, so that kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about. Is there is. I've done them.
Has been blocked.
It's been banned.
What's that?
The Fappening.
Yeah, no, the thread got shut down probably about a week ago now.
Full on,
yeah.
Was that the actual... Were they posting the photos on that subreddit, or was it more they were just talking about it?
No, talking and links.
Yeah.
And also, and links. Okay. Links. They're being hosted on, like, web hosts like Imgur. That web host.
Imgur is very popular with Reddit. Giphy Cat is another one. Anyway,
I think a lot of those sites, though, they started to get them taken down, and a host like Imgur is hard because it's not just, you know, it's anyone can upload, so you've got to take down like heaps of accounts. It's not just like shut down one account, you've gotten rid of it kind of thing. And then I believe they put in some algorithms on the website that sensed when those photos were being uploaded on an account and auto deleted them. But yeah, the thing is that we live in an age of like cloud, like this whole cloud thing where everything's connected to an internet hosted, you know, server. Now you asked if there's any nude photographs of me. Like I've they exist, but
Oh, really?
They serious. You know what?
I didn't know that. That wasn't the answer I was expecting.
They exist, but they certainly don't exist on any kind of device that connects to any kind of internet.
Yeah, fully.
They do not exist on anything that, you know. This is the thing. A lot of devices have like auto sync now,
right? Yes,
and this iCloud thing on phones, you got to deliberately go into your settings and turn it off to auto sync. Now, the thing with auto sync is that it's a very handy technology. I've actually got it on my phone. I've got this. I don't have an iPhone. I've got an Android, so I've got this thing, Mighty Text, and it's got a setting in it where whenever I take a photo, it immediately syncs it to the Mighty Text cloud, which is like another version of iCloud. And I love it because as soon as I've taken a photo, how many times do you want to take a photo off your phone?
Yeah,
you know, and you got to do the whole USB, plug it in, detect, yes, turn on mass storage on my phone.
Yeah.
Half the time USB doesn't freaking work on my computer. It's such a temperamental thing. Like the problems we had with the cameras just setting up this podcast, it's always like, you know, touch and go. And I'm usually on Wi-Fi with my phone, so it's like a really quick photo upload. I can then just log onto this website and there's that photo on my computer, and then I can post it to Facebook or whatever I'm going to do with the photo, or email it to somebody or whatever.
You could probably set it so that it only uploads when you've got Wi-Fi as well.
Exactly, yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's fine.
So it doesn't smash your data. But the thing is that you got to know that that's on, and not take fucking dick pics or whatever pics with that shit.
Don't tell me not to take dick pics.
But you, like, seriously, well, okay.
I do what I want.
Take them, but know that shit syncs directly with the internet, and there's like people just
fully
attacking that shit daily, like just waiting for a weakness to happen, looking for soft passwords, getting in, and maybe, you know, you and me are fine. Maybe they find, you know, photos that are compromising, and that doesn't. But celebrities, god damn, if you're a celebrity, surely you'd be really diligent with that kind of technology.
That's what I can't understand about it as well. It's like, it's absolutely.
Insane.
Like, how could you have that shit online? Like,
to take it to another level, okay, and this might sound prudish, but there's something weird about chicks in the last decade that just got so cool with letting them get photographed nude. Like, I just don't remember this being so prolific.
I was reading something today, and they were talking about how it's a real issue with like 12, 13-year-old girls are getting pressured by guys to like send them naked photos and stuff.
And stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pics and stuff. Yeah, like it's crazy, man. Like, and it's I think it's like an emulation thing. Like, you know, a younger generation sees an older generation doing something, and we've been living in a digital age so long now that's happening. And there's a TED talk where they talk about how hardcore porn has the same effect on people, because that's basically the only sex education a lot of people get. And as more hardcore as porn has gotten over the years, and like, you know, choking people and shit, you know, because it's, you know, the porn of 2014 is so much more full on than the porn of 1994. It really is. Just with the internet making it more prolific as well. But it is more hardcore. Like your general flavour porn.
Needs to be more hardcore to stand out from the pack, you know.
I guess it's that thing that, you know, constantly one-upping, you know. But even just general, not classified as hardcore porn, has way more they're saying in this TED Talk, has way more hardcore acts in it, in just general vanilla porn, than what we had 20 years ago. Yeah. And that a lot of people use that as like a gauge of what to do themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's manifesting into like basically girls thinking that they have to be heaps more submissive and like do heaps more full on stuff. And I think part of that is just being cool with doing like tit pics, like
it's got to the point where it's like at our age when we were in high school, like a chick taking a photo of her tits and giving it to a guy would be such a fucking massive thing.
Unheard of,
that would never fucking happen. What dude would ever have been able to convince any of those women to do that? Never.
And if you had told some dudes that you managed to convince a chick to let her take some photos like you take some photos of her with your old clickety clack Kodak fucking 90s camera, you'd be like, dude, you're a seedy motherfucker. Like,
but not only that,
like,
but you know what's changed is the fact that, you know why the chick wouldn't do it? Because she knows for fucking damn sure that guy's going to go and show that photo to all of his mates. And that was just an automatic thing back then. It was like, I'm not doing that because you're going to show that to all your seedy fucking mates.
And a lot of this new technology might be ushering in a more of a illusion of safety, like this Snapchat shit, you know, where
I don't really know what that is. Like, I keep hearing
really
about it, but I don't know what it is.
All that I know about it is that it's a way to message somebody a picture, and it's an auto delete. Use just once and destroy. So you see the picture and it auto deletes it, and it's got a feature in the app where it can tell if the person has taken a screenshot. You know, you can take a screenshot on the phone.
Yeah.
So it's got a detecting algorithm where it will then go back to the person that sent you that picture saying they screenshotted your Snapchat, and then that's a way for you to go, okay, you're deleted off my Snapchat, at least you don't deserve any photos because you don't play by the rules, because you've Snapchatted you've screenshotted my Snapchat. How weird is that? What a weird app.
Not fucking taking the pictures in the first place. It's
like a mission
asking
impossible.
for trouble.
That's the thing that, like, I remember when I went back into the dating scene after being in a long-term relationship for 14 years or whatever it was, and the first few girls that I was dating would just unasked sending me fucking naked photos.
Really?
And I was like, what the hell is this? And I thought I'd hit pay dirt. I thought I'd have found the most awesome fucking chicks ever. And I talked to my other friends that were single and in the scene, and they're like, yeah, of course, man, yeah.
I get pictures all the time. Look at this. Look.
Yeah, exactly. They'd pull out 20 of themselves and show me. I'm like, holy fucking shit.
It's like, what the fuck?
That is so weird.
That is strange. It's a weird time to be living in. I guess that's why the celebrities have been caught out so easily, is that it's so prolific now. But goddamn,
but the other thing of that as well is that the impact that it's going to have to their careers is basically non-existent. Whereas like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, this could have been like, wouldn't necessarily, sometimes they might have been able to parlay it into something good and some fame and whatever, but sometimes it could have been really bad.
Totally.
Whereas now it's just like,
it also depends on the profession as well. I guess it's still bad for politicians, like Anthony Weiner, just like dick picked himself. He was done, he was pretty much done.
Did you see that final press conference where he was like running away from the pollies and coming out of Macca's and giving him the fucking like finger and stuff?
Really?
And,
he got wacky as shit towards the end.
He did, man.
Even his close friends started to be going like, oh dude, like I've got to kind of distance myself. Like Jon Stewart was like a big defender of him on the Daily Show, and then towards the end of that he was like, I tap out, dude, like he just been too wacky about it. But
apparently he did do some really good stuff. Like apparently he was actually like really good for his.
A lot of people would say that this was a stitch up, that he was actually starting to affect some real change. Same with what's that? He was the mayor of, was he?
Elliot Spitzer.
That he was like this comptroller that was actually taking care of Wall Street fucking.
Yeah, he was like hammering him,
and they hated him. All of a sudden, the prostitute shit came out, and.
Well, so did you hear the story about Ralph Nader when he was? Did you see that documentary about Ralph Nader?
There's a few that I've seen about him.
Well, have you heard the story about? Heard the story about when he was like first starting to like hit the car companies and do some damage. Right. That they'd send like chicks, basically escorts into the supermarket and try and pick him up and stuff.
Yeah, trying to get the scandal going. Yeah. That's crazy. Hey, it shows you that
it's just like Mad Men mentality, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah, and that. There's still like some.
Well, here's one that didn't work out too well, did it? What an idiot!
I don't know if that should have got him axed.
Fuck it! How does it affect chance, man? And you go and do something like that, you dumb fuck.
But
what had he done before though? Because I know he'd done a bunch of
driving.
That's fucking stupid.
I think he bashed his girlfriend somewhere. He got done running from the cops while DUI.
Like how bizarre that they weren't the line crossed.
Well, they were. He got axed and he went away for ages, and then he came back and they said like, look, this is your fucking last chance, man. man.
And he pissed in his mouth.
He did really well, man. He played in Origin. I think he won a Dally M, which is like really good.
He was a good player, but that wasn't an effect of like a hack. Like he let his mate take that fucking photo.
Yeah, but like, why would you even be in a situation where you would allow that to happen? Like, you see your mate with a fucking camera up, you go, fuck off, man, you're gonna get me in trouble, you know? Like,
it's tough with rugby players, like, and all sportsmen that are.
I don't think it's tough at all. I think it's plain as day. You don't do dumb shit like that.
Look, I agree with you, but
their education is like really like affected by their career.
And you're asking them to be fucking. They're the modern day Spartans, man. You're asking them to go out and fucking put it on the line.
Big politicians.
You don't get that kind of mentality of person that's willing to do that and is an elite at that kind of shit. And they're fucking dainty pinkies up, drinking tea on Sunday. They go out and they're rowdy cunts. They're rowdy cunts.
Piss in your mouth, but don't post it online, or don't let your mate post it online. I'm not saying that it would have been fine. Nobody would have even known if that photo had not have been taken. It's just stupid. It is.
Dumb. It's no doubt. It's silly.
You have to be
but
smarter than that.
I don't know if he should have been axed. I think that's.
I think
probably
you had to. You had to.
Well, if he'd had, it'd be a public relations nightmare. With the other stuff that you were talking about, if it was just that, then
of course, probably. If it was just that, slapping on the wrist, let him go. Exactly. But it's not.
And that one is nowhere near as bad as any of the other things that you were mentioning.
Oh, man,
but still, it's just
it's straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, with that act. But I thought it was a little bit too much. It was kind of like there's heaps of people over in the States getting axed from their sports positions for small shit, and I guess it is a history of what that guy's done, but it seemed like I'm sure rugby players are doing way worse than that every game.
But they're not uploading it online. I think that's the main point.
Well, he didn't upload it online. His mate did. But
not allowing it to be uploaded online.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't put yourself in that position.
And look.
But having said that, how well did he know that dude? Like, was he really, really good mates with this dude?
I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah.
See,
I'm pretty sure
that's also quite harsh then. If it's like a really good mate of yours and you don't, you kind of... He's obviously he's trusted this dude that it wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I do feel for him a bit in that sense.
Fully. Yeah.
And the thing is, he hasn't hurt anyone.
No, it's not like he was pissing in somebody else's mouth.
But
that didn't want it.
He's a representative of his football club, right? So when he's at all times, he's a representative of his football club. That's his job, you know. And if you're not clue to that.
No, of course. It was clearly...
You're not doing your job properly.
Yeah, it was very stupid.
Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about was, have you heard about this thing that's happened in the last week or so? And it's developed into a point where there's actually a terminology for doing this act called swatting. And what swatting is so there's this whole new thing now where... not pro gamers, but guys that are really good at video games, they stream them playing a video game on the internet, and people log in and they watch them playing this game. And people, I know it's weird.
It's like a really crap movie.
There's a guy at work that does it all day at work. He's just watching streams of games, and to the point where it's not even live streams, so people can watch recorded streams.
Well, they happen in the middle of the night. Some of them. Some of them are really good gamers, man, and some of them are really good streams and really entertaining.
I'm not having a go at it, and it's kind of like if you want to understand why somebody would do it, it's kind of like I can see two reasons. One, this guy is the fucking best at this game, and it's kind of like you're so into this game, you want to watch somebody that's the best at it do what they do and kind of pick up some tips or just see what it's like to see the elite of the elite do something cool that you're into. Either that, or two, you actually don't have either the computer power to play it, or you don't have the game yet and you just want to watch somebody play this game that all your mates are talking about or whatever. Okay, so for whatever reason, this swatting term comes up because there was a famous streamer that was doing a live stream of his game, and one of his audience members decides to prank him by calling the SWAT.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Oh, this is swatting. Yes, I have heard about
into his house and arrest him while he's streaming his live content. Man, that's fucking insane. Man.
But didn't this kid get like? There was a kid that just got jail time for that the other day.
Oh, really? Like for calling
the SWAT team.
I didn't hear about that part of it. And it was like,
it was a pretty... dude, can you try and find... Because I think it was pretty significant. It was like 23 years or something.
Really?
Like, no, that can't be... Check this.
Wow.
Just say 15-year-old arrested for swatting.
One of the funny things about what happened with this particular case, the game that this guy was streaming was a Counter-Strike source, or CSGO, they call it Counter-Strike Go, and it's like a terrorists versus kind of SWAT, kind of police, kind of team-based thing. And as the SWAT team came into this guy's room, like the stream's he's got a microphone so the audience can hear him talking, and it's also got the computer game sound going through the stream as well. And he was like, this kid couldn't believe it, and he's like, man, like what are you doing here? And the dude's like, get down on the ground right now. And just as the SWAT team say that, from the computer game, there's a famous line from the game when the terrorists win the game. It's like terrorists win. Just get down there. Terrorists win.
I think this might be.
It's a hoax. That's right. No, and you know what?
Really?
Now that I remember it, I remember reading it was a hoax.
He staged the stream.
No. What they're saying, they're saying that the article that this team was convicted and got 25 is a hoax. But there has definitely been swatting happening.
If you got caught bringing a SWAT to somebody, though, that'd be a felony.
I remember not too long ago, and it was a pretty hot chick, so that's why I was watching the stream. She was pretty tag. She was playing. I can't remember what she was playing. And she was screaming, like really fully loud. It was like a horror game or something. And fucking the neighbours called the cops. And like I was watching the stream, and you hear her knock at the door, and she goes off camera, and you can still hear everything. And it's like, look, what's going on in here with police? Your neighbours are called because it's her screaming, wailing coming from this room. Like, what's going on? And she's like, I'm just playing computer games. And they're like, oh, fuck. Keep it down, man. Like, Jesus, it sounds like you're getting raped.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's way more video cameras in the world on than ever before. And you see some crazy shit. Like, just dash cameras from, cars. Like, some of the you see, like, or the Russian meteor, right, that came in. Like, some of the Russian dash cams of that is awesome. My favourite one is, like, the video's titled... Russians don't give a fuck. And it's this dude, like, and he's driving his car, but the dash cam isn't out on the road, it's on his face. I think it's mounted to his like rear view.
Like pointing towards his face.
Towards him. Right. And it shows him, and it's like the moment that the fucking meteor comes in, and his whole car lights up with the brightness of it, and he's just like, he's kind of like just annoyed by the brightness, and he just lowers his sun visor and just goes about driving, and just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, this could be the end, It's like, it's a bit bright.
Dashboard mounted cameras in Russia. They've been catching everything from driving offenses to meteors and could now serve as top content for hours of comedy. Lindsay Franz takes a look at what's become the online hallmark of today's Russia.
If it wasn't for this, we would never have seen this. The 11,000-ton meteor that impacted Chelyabinsk in February. The video was breathtaking. The world asked, when did Russia become the authority on the so-called dash cam? George Svechnikov says we have Russian roads to thank.
Because of all the people suing and shit, isn't it?
It's because there's basically, it's next to impossible to get insurance. And if you do get insurance, you've got to like have a like airtight case, that it wasn't your fault. And most of the dash cam footage I've seen have come from Russia
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
You know, crazy road rages and
that backflip one, man. You showed
yeah.
A fucking car.
The motorbike
on top of the car. Yeah.
So I mean, you get to see some, you know, pretty amazing stuff. Like I always am surprised when a major disaster happens in the world somewhere or some major event. Like within a few weeks, the amount of fucking camera angles that manage to come in.
Yeah, fully.
Like even something that's in the middle of fucking nowhere. You know, there'll be 2 or 3 different video feeds that come in. It's just like there's like a video, and I guess it's because we've all got them in our phone, and if shit goes down, you can pretty quickly turn it on and start filming it. But yeah, it's pretty insane how many cameras there must be filming at one time. Is this the one? Yeah. This is a dash cam in Russia, and this guy does like you'd have to buy a lotto ticket after this one.
Oh,
he landed on the roof.
What?
Like he survived.
Check it, look it, watch it. So this card is about to merge.
Yeah.
And he just comes up the middle. Come on. Merge, mate.
Yeah, I'll make that. Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, he lands on the roof. Oh my god.
That is crazy.
Oh my god.
Like
that is unbelievable. It's like Spider-Man shit. It looks like Spider-Man.
I can't believe that he's managed to like not slide down the face of it even, like just maintain.
He's smart. He keeps his center of gravity low and then sits down
pretty quickly. Yeah.
and then starts tapping on the roof. Excuse me.
Oh man, yeah. That's dicey as.
Hey, have you guys seen this like Oculus Rift?
Yeah. I haven't used one.
No, man. But have you heard about the guys playing the Alien game?
Yeah, the new Alien
the
game.
horror.
There's a new one coming out. Yeah,
like as in like Ridley Scott Aliens.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And it's
awesome.
Oculus Rift.
No
this
way.
guy was saying, I've read this guy, it was talking about how he put it on and he'd just heard that like heaps of dudes were like throwing it off and like just like screaming and like just couldn't take like running out of the room and shit, you know, like just and he was saying he put it on and he's like going, holy shit, like just in this, you know, that whole environment's all like cavernly and dark and moist and and he's looking around at all the detail, and you know, because the thing with the Oculus Rift is it moves, your vision moves to the left as you move, so it's like that whole immersive experience, and he's looking around going like, holy shit, you know, like and just tripping out on like how detailed it is and how, you know, it feels like he's walking and all this sort of stuff, and he just gets totally lost in it, and then all of a sudden he sees something out of the corner of his eye. He just goes, oh, fuck. It just totally freaks him out. And all of a sudden he realizes, he's like, oh my God, I'm in the fucking, like, there's an alien in here with me.
Man.
Like, yeah.
This is going to be...
He said he got so immersed in it that he actually forgot what he was doing for a minute and then all of a sudden went, oh shit, that's right. He just got the full panic.
That's insane. Because,
Yeah.
like, I mean, a really good, scary game just on a 2D screen can get you going.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
I can't imagine what it'd be like with, like, you know, a full... And yeah, as you say, you know, it's got like the gyroscope in it, so you look up to the left and it renders up into the left of the room that you're in and shit. It looks really cool. I've seen there's some other technology that they're coming out with as well to complement it. There's this like it's like a half an what would you say, like an elliptical kind of like a half a circle kind of thing that you stand in.
Oh, the treadmill
I saw this dude.
It's like a treadmill that you stand in, but it's not like a treadmill that you push like.
It's like a round sort of plate sort of thing, isn't it?
And it's like you got
that.
really slippery socks on or something in it, and it senses when you're running.
Like a big trackball. Yeah.
So you can do the Oculus for obviously the vision and looking around, but then instead of, because like I think a lot of the Oculus games are
still keyboard and mouse,
a controller in your hand, and to walk forward you put forward with your finger.
Like, you think like flight sims, you're looking around in a flight sim, you got a joystick. Driving sims, you look around in your car. And yeah, stuff like Amnesia, which is a horror game, which is down all the corridors and shit. And Aliens games are going to be fucking awesome. I've also seen a contraption where people like lie down flat and they put on the Oculus and it moves them around. So I think that's like a flying thing, like Superman flying.
Put it like a fan in front of your face.
Have you heard about that one where you put 2 ping pong balls on your eyes and shine red light in it and put on headphones with white noise, and after about 15 minutes you start hallucinating?
I've heard about this. Yeah,
About this?
What?
Yeah, for real.
Fucking dodgy.
This last night. Yeah. So get a ping pong ball, cut it in half, put it over your eyes, tape them on so you can't see anything except for the white. You shine a red light in it and you just have headphones on with white noise. And they're saying that what it is because you never in real life have such a constant flat image without any change like that, and because the white noise just sort of blocks everything out and you've just got that one constant frequency, your brain is so starved for any kind of stimulus that after a certain amount of time it just starts to make it up. So you fully start like hallucinating like these crazy images and stuff.
There's a video on the internet I saw the other day of this guy that goes into a complete anionic chamber. So it's like a completely acoustic dead room.
Okay. Yep.
And then like there was like a urban legend that people could, like, no one could like stay in this room for longer than a certain amount of time. It was like half an hour, an hour, or something
hearing
like
your
that.
heartbeat and stuff.
Because there's so much. Because the way that your ears work is it's kind of like an audio compressor in terms of when the ambient noise is so low, it kind of like there's a volume knob that gets turned up. It's like a gain knob, so everything then comes up. And then over a certain amount of time in being a room that doesn't even have the sound of the room itself. And it's really weird. Like, you'd be surprised at what total silence actually means. And it's very hard to achieve total silence. Like, most humans, especially living in a city, will never experience. Like, you've got this like 60 or 50 hertz hum in the electrics of the house, you know, and you'd be surprised at just how much sound, like when you reduce everything else away, that will be there. So these anionic chambers like are meant to be absolutely no reverberations, and you start to hear like your heartbeat and like hear actually your blood passing through your blood vessels, and it's meant to be like really freaky. Like you get this sense of like, you know, I am this like mechanical thing that's, you know, you're never aware of those things happening. So it's like
your blood pump.
It'd be crazy.
Thank you.
But this guy does this internet video and he manages to stay in there for ages. But I think the catch was that he was kind of self-narrating as he was doing it. Like, he took a video camera in there with him, and he was saying, this is like, it's been half an hour and I seem to feel okay, you know. And I think maybe if he went in there and just said nothing, it'd be a different story.
And put a couple of ping pong balls on.
I haven't read that though. That it's like full hallucin, like it's like, you know, no drug hallucination, you know, inducer kind of thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I was been reading about Google Cars.
Google Cars.
Yeah, and it's this thing that I really am looking forward to in the future, and like, I don't know. I've got this sense that technology is just like, you know, it's zapping along, you know, we're in this like constant like snowball effect of shit coming out quicker and quicker, and, you know, that Kurzweil theory of, you know,
singularity.
Yeah, like the computer processing doubles every certain amount of time and all of this, and, you know, and I've always had this hope in my back of my head that the Google car was going to be, you know, one of those things that's going to be like a watershed moment in technology, like kind of like the internet, just a game changer. It's like, holy shit. Because I haven't driven for a lot of my adult life. I only really recently got my license, and I've been driving for about a year and a half now. And I drove a little bit on and off before that, but not like to a job. Like, this is the first time I've like had my license and driven to and from a job in peak hour traffic. And when I first got my car, it was so awesome. It was like this freedom. I've got these wheels. I can just jump in it, and like I set my destination. I don't have like the shackles of public transport, which I fucking was so over so many years of traveling on it, you know, getting stuck in the middle of nowhere. Like, I went to school at Kalani Heights, which is one of the worst places in the freaking world to be stuck without public transport. Like, after 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, there's Forest Coach Line stop running, you're screwed.
Yeah, fully.
I can honestly say I spent a few outdoor nights in Forestville and Killarney Heights because I'd been hanging out with the boys and then been thinking I'd go and catch the last bus in time. Missed it. They've all gone into their comfy beds.
Where were you living?
I was living in Mossman at the time.
Right, okay.
Jesus, it was so harsh.
Oh my God! Like to get to Mossman,
to Chatswood, and
that way. Like,
then a train to St Leonard's, and then the 144. It was just like no. So
144. Why didn't you catch the 144 from Chatswood?
Or I could do that, or I'd just go straight through to St Leonard's anyway, because I was going to. Because there would be some nights that the 144 or 143 would only leave from from Royal Shore. Right. Okay. And so if you went at Chatswood, you might not have gotten that one.
That's right. Yeah.
All of the perils of fucking traveling. This is a whole another rant I can have. Like, we are meant to be one of the biggest cities in the world. There was people quote, London, Paris, New York, Sydney. He's like, no.
I don't think so.
Not when it comes to our trains and shit. Like, apparently
London, Paris, New York have about 4 times the amount of people that we do.
I know, but we don't slouch on the amount of people. There's a shitload of people.
I think it's a compliment that we're getting put into that class.
We're actually pretty small as far as population goes. Like, we're not. I don't reckon we're that like big. Like, we're big geographically.
Yeah.
See, that's what I think is. Sydney is very spread out. It's really sprawling.
Yeah.
I think it's like LA, like that. LA is like this really sprawling city that just goes a long way in sort of every direction, and
which one might argue is even more need for a good public transport system. But when I got my car, I was like, this is awesome. Break the shackles of the train, and I still do really appreciate not having to fucking catch a train to work every day. But the varnish wore off pretty quick. Like, having a travel in peak hour, it's like, and just the idiots on the road, just people as a hive, really inefficient a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And I've read these articles about why traffic jams happen, like when you're in this fucking traffic and then you get to what you think was the congestion point and there's nothing there. And like, why did this happen? And so I read this article about the maths of it, and it's because people they only look at the bumper bar right in front of them, and the time that it takes for that car to accelerate after the car in front of them has accelerated, and then you realize that they're accelerating creates these time distortions between what should actually be, and what they're saying in this article is that you should actually be looking 2 or 3 cars ahead and be preparing to accelerate, so you can all kind of move as this symbiotic, one creature instead of gas brake honk, gas brake honk, honk honk gas brake honk,
gas. I watched a Mythbusters episode the other day, not too long ago, and it was about traffic, right? A pretty fucking shit episode. Yeah. But it showed they did a test where if somebody brakes like unexpectedly, it cortinas down, has a massive effect down the line.
Yeah.
And it just takes 1 or 2 of those things to happen, and it fucks everybody up.
Yeah. And
that's what's happening.
And this is why I think Google Cars is a fucking great thing.
So what is the idea? I don't understand what
basically
it is.
Autonomous cars that are driven by Google technology. So you'll have a car that's got like some kind of camera mounted in it. It's analysing the road. It's using Google Maps. And
it's a Johnny cab.
Exactly. It is a Johnny cab. It is. And you get in and you speak your destination and you go. And then the full extension of this idea is that like you wouldn't even need to have your own Google car. There would just be Google cars.
I reckon just say Google car. There's just Google car.
There's just Google car. And you just go out of your house and there's so many of them that you just grab one, and you punch in your destination. Or let's just say we have our own ones even, like Johnny Cab. And you put your own destination into the car and you go to where you're going. That solves that whole human element of cars banking up for no necessary. Your traffic becomes way more efficient. The expenditure of fuel is heaps less. There's all these studies that talk about how there's all of these things saved from it.
There's all of these benefits, for sure.
Awesome. Well, my thoughts were shattered the other day when I found this article basically entitled "Just How Far Off Google Cars Are from Being Used in Normal Public Situations," and it broke down what the limitations are. And like, see, Google's good at like promoting the good stuff, you know, and they'd been last like year or so, I'd read things like they've traveled like 700,000 miles across these different places in the States where they've been doing their trials. And like, I read that and I'm like, shit, like that's pretty good. And then I'm reading things like that they're getting up to like full highway speeds. So it's not just like some backstreet 20 k's an hour shit. They're going full tilt highway speeds with traffic, with other highway traffic, and managing it. I'm like, shit, okay, we're pretty close. Like, this is good. And Google Maps has mapped the world pretty much already. So they're down on that whole map technology shit. And you know, they've got the server space and the network, you know, infrastructure and all of that. But this article was saying like those 700,000 miles that they've driven are like, they're so pre-programmed. Like they have to have like a team of engineers programming in. Like it's not just get the Google Maps feed and feed it into this thing. It's like you need to plot it all out.
Oh yeah, like every little turn and
they're saying things like driveways, like all of the driveways have to be programmed into your route, or else it just won't be able to deal with people pulling out of a driveway. And then if there's a set of lights put up overnight, can't deal with it. It won't know that those lights are there, and that happens pretty often. And it can deal with things like, you know, hazards and objects that it sees that it didn't anticipate, but it can't deal with things like four-way stop signs. It just doesn't know how to process that shit. So it seems like Google cars are like a long way off, and you know, that's one of those things that I actually thought we were going to see maybe in the next 5 or 10 years.
People enjoy driving, they won't be able to drive anymore. If everybody's got Google cars, the art of driving will be gone.
Let me ask you this. Okay, would you, if you could jump into a car, and let's not say that it takes away your... It's not going to take your steering wheel out, but you can go into your car and just program it in.
I'd use it all the time.
I
would use it all the time.
Definitely for like menial travelling, you know.
Absolutely.
It's when there's traffic and
But
shit.
if you owned a fucking kick-ass Ferrari...
No, but that's what he said, is it doesn't take away your ability to drive. I'm not saying that I would never drive, but what I'm saying is I would use the auto function a fucking heap.
In that case,
fully.
wouldn't that then just mean that we'd have traffic again, though? Because we'd have some people in Google cars and some people in regular cars.
No, so that's why I said there is only Google car.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Well, you're right. That's the only way that the efficiency works.
Exactly.
You know, is if it's all Google cars.
Everybody's got the same fucking car, the same fucking system.
Well, no, it wouldn't work out like that though. Like they would all be compatible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's what there'd be an industry standard. They have to do this, and this, and this is how they deal with the situation.
You know, like
what about a vehicle that did have no steering wheel? It was just 4 normal seats that you got in, and you just programmed it in, and you just sat in it and travelled.
I think grandkids could be like, you know, just totally cool with that and like never pay it a second thought.
Yeah.
But I think anyone our generation or like my kid will always feel a little bit like insecure, not having the ability to suddenly take over if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or at least having, because if you're on a train, you know, there's a dude driving the train at the front, you know, because you're not driving the train, but it's part of me thinks that I could be cool with it. Like, it's the part of me that loves to sleep in that really likes the idea. I like the idea of like, you know, I'd probably just sleep in my Google car. So the actual journey to work is part of my sleeping time, and then I could actually set my alarm when my Google car, like I could be that cool with autonomous driving that I could just like sleep in it. But that's what I picture like in the future, is people getting into the car,
watching movies,
programming work, watching movie, actually having breakfast, you know, instead of, you know, tying up all that time at home in the kitchen, actually eating breakfast in the automatically driven car on their way to work. Like, doesn't that sound like a cool time saver?
Oh, it's awesome, and it'd be cool if it becomes a reality. But you know,
But yeah, when you look at this,
so many things.
when you look at this, there's this photo on this article of the Google car trying to figure out how it drives, and it's like a photo of what this unit actually sees, and when you see how clunky it is and how much shit it has to deal with, all of the other cars on the road, all of the fucking driveways and stuff like that, and you just look at this photo and you're like, man, that's some serious processing power, and one glitch, one hiccup on your Wi-Fi connection or whatever it might be, and that system goes offline, or it just doesn't process the right thing at the right time. Like, that's colossal fucking disaster, you know. So yeah, but I used to, every time I would be stuck in traffic, I'd be like, Google Cars is coming, but I don't think it's coming as quick as I think it's going to come.
It's going to be a while off.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, dude, I've got to make a move.
Yeah, you want to call it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to.
No worries.
Pull it up like that. I really want to do this again.
Yeah.
There's heaps of stuff I want, you know.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Mindset on overdrive, never felt so alive. Getting high on a Monday night, screaming it tells down the God.